Midsommar was 7 years ago, but I'm still not over how this movie was basically a horror movie in broad daylight. And I don't know if Dani joined the cult in the end, or if she finally found peace, or this was the worst horrifying horror movie ending of all time, but it was a weird movie, a really weird one, and maybe not in a good way. And I'm also here to tell you that Christian and his friends deserved better, and I'm gonna prove it to you. Does Midsommar have any rewatch value? Maybe. If you like trip-like movies, sure. Is it scary? No. Is it terrifying? Yes. Okay, so let's fax it out. Fax it in? Let's fax it. Fax machine 9000 it. So the movie starts out with a voicemail, and I know what you're thinking. Who even uses those old phones anymore? And what kind of twisted mind puts them in the bedroom? The bedroom? Really? You're gonna go walk up to your bedroom when the phone rings while you're in the kitchen. Anyways, as we pan away from the phone to the parents sleeping under these almost flower-like sheets, they seem peaceful, calm. We don't know what's happened yet, and they could just be sleeping, but we feel uneasy. Something just doesn't feel right. You see, this is sort of a premonition to the rest of the movie. Even when things look calm and maybe normal, like two people sleeping in their bed at night, there's something utterly wrong. I mean, they're also in perfect position with their sheets neatly tucked in. Do you know anybody who sleeps like this? And don't say me, I know you don't. I know you lie face down with your arms stretched out, covering the entire bed. Please stop it, Bill. What I'm saying is you really can't go to bed without messing it up first. The sister poisoned them, and then she placed them there. Very, very likely. It's never indicated, but that's probably what happened. And so when Dani calls them on the phone, you can tell that they're kind of distant. She's very hesitant in her voice and careful with the words that she uses. So we kind of get the sense that they're not on best terms. And even though she has her own life here, she's still sort of a prisoner. She's not comfortable in her own room, in her own skin. Which is where Christian comes in. The most hated anti-hero of the movie. I get it. He's gaslighting her and is overall not very supportive. Wants to only have fun with girls. Whatever. Thing is, they've been together for years and we don't really know what their relationship looked like over those years. But be honest, if you had to calm someone down every month for 3 years while doing your PhD, I'm sure by the 56th time, you'd be a little annoyed too. And I mean, he's still around, isn't he? He picks up the phone, he goes to comfort her, but none of this doesn't matter. The movie needs you to hate him for what will happen later on. So we hate him. And Dani, dude, she's needy. Come on, she is needy. No shame in that, by the way. That's okay. It's totally justified with how her life seems from before. But anyway, now we're invested. Midsommar. It just became personal. You're either rooting for Dani or Christian or Mark to please finally get laid before we get a 40-year-old virgin part 2. Seriously, Mark. And real quick before we go any further, if you subscribe to the channel and like the video, it would really brighten my day. And I'm talking Midsommar brightness. Smile awkwardly. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that line? Okay. And yes, Midsommar is a super bright movie, which automatically makes it not a horror movie, in my opinion, kind of. Because at no point during this movie were you scared. Come on, be honest. Be honest. Concerned? Yes. Nervous? Obviously. Disturbed? Hopefully. And there's this super boring guy who has a warm smile, seems chill, invites you to festivals in Europe. Meet Pele. First of all, strange guy, right? Grounded, calm, actually a little too calm for my taste. Not someone you'd really picture Mark or Josh hitting it off with, really. So they're really close friends, and yet, for whatever reason, nobody's ever suspicious of this guy refusing to talk about Stockholm and only talking about his hometown and the festival, like all the time. I mean, he isn't even lying. No fake promises like, after the festival, we could check this place out, man, for sure. No worries. He doesn't say that. Nope. He's an open book. I don't know. I would be suspicious. But I mean, these guys are just, PhD students, so not the sharpest tools out there. I don't know. Maybe his calmness and his simplicity inspires trust. What? Pele? No way. He's Pele, He, like San Pellegrino, like the mineral water. Still cool Pele. So the moment they arrive in Sweden, the horror begins. No sunset for 6 months. That's the horror. And I'm not gonna lie, that sounds terrifying. Sleeping while the sun is still up, you can get rid of a demon with some holy water and some weird spells, but you can't set the sun. Like, what? Here's what this means contextually though. A day is never truly over. Ever notice how even when they wake up, they just still seem tired or sleepy? They just can never rest. Think jet lag on shrooms. The sun never sets. You simply can't adapt to something like that, like a change like that in just a few days. It would probably take you maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks at least. And since we did mention it, shrooms. At this point onward, all they do is take shrooms. They eat food that they don't recognize, drink liquids that are clearly not water, and ultimately stay high enough to never realize how messed up things really get. And if the cameraman took shrooms too, maybe none of this ever happened. But aside from being high, I can totally see how broad daylight, smiling faces, and people dancing on green grass can make you feel safe no matter how odd things get. Like getting killed in this place? What? Get out of here. But then we get to some more disturbing moments. You know, once you reach 72 years of age, you get to go bungee jumping. But there's a twist. They don't attach the rope around 100% of the time. Not always, but 100% of the time. And, well, death isn't always guaranteed. It's a win or a lose depending on which perspective you're looking at it from. If you're part of the Harga, it's a loss if death doesn't happen, like it happened to this guy over here. What's worse than bungee jumping without a rope and breaking your legs? Getting booed for it. You see, the Harga believes in a deep, made-up religion which they themselves invent. They raise their own prophets, sort of. Basically, very sick children who paint pictures and do scribbles, which in turn is called a holy book. And then they interpret the unclouded scribbles with their clouded minds. So, wait. One of those interpretations is give meaning to the unknown. Suffering is one of them. They don't understand it, which is why when the old man doesn't immediately die, they boo him. He should have died. This doesn't make sense. But they were prepared anyway, and, well, they hammer him down. Anything that the Harga cannot control is blasphemy for them. Because if something vague slips in, that means they have no understanding of it, no control, and their religion will start to crumble. So they start making up these rituals, interpret the images in their holy book to whatever is unclear. Rituals for how they eat, what they do with the ashes of the deceased, weird meaningful trees lying around, and also really bad recipes that they inherited from possibly their grandmas. Hair really in cake? Was it a muffin? The Harga can never be lost astray because they have it under control always. Okay, let's say you want to join the Harga, and of course you never would unless you are Dennis from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You have to be the Harga's way. And there are signs if you are or if you aren't. At the end of this movie, you'll probably know if you could be a good fit there. Not that you should ever think of this. Take a look at Dani. She's the only one with the most relatable reaction to the mountain bungee jumping scene. Sickened, but not losing it. Actually, what am I saying? Simon is swearing at everyone, calling them crazy, and he's right. It's the most relatable, but it's not a reaction any of us would have made, because we don't even know what these people are capable of. Weird place, sure. Messed up rituals, check. Want to make a scene and draw attention? Definitely not, thank you. So ultimately, Dani's reaction is the most realistic in that moment. Christian and Josh, they're just too apathetic. They claim to be open to new experiences, and that shows a lack of emotional intelligence. With the Harga, it's all about balance. No emotions? Bye-bye. Too many emotions, also bye-bye. More often than not, it's bye-bye with them, so. And Pele knew exactly how apathetic his friends were, and ultimately, brought them here to be sacrificial lambs. But maybe he saw something in Dani, something he had told the wise people the moment he arrived to Sweden, that she was appropriate, ready to join them. She had recently lost her parents and was grieving. She has a cold boyfriend, feels alone, is isolated, sort of. A perfect candidate to brainwash? maybe? What I still struggle to understand, however, is how Mark, a PhD student, acts like a teenager who just discovered girls. Did this guy really just fly all the way to Sweden for sex? But here's a twist you did not hear before. He's not that much different from Dani. You might hate him for telling Christian to just break up with Dani, being this cold, unlikable person. You know, the way he keeps talking about getting laid, girls, getting laid, getting the waitress pregnant, hotties in Sweden, soon to be pregnant. You know, come to think of it, I think this guy just wants to be a dad. Jokes aside though, it could be true that he had family problems. He too is clearly alone, sad, needy even. Only difference is that he uses, sexuality and jokes to hide it. And sadly, that's not what the Harga is looking for. They need raw emotion spilling from your soul so it can be, manifested. It can be shared and felt by everyone. But also, my man, you're not at some random open field wedding to piss on the first tree trunk you can find. This is a super weird festival, and you've already seen enough to know better. I don't know, maybe he's a child trapped in a grown man's body. Yeah, I think that just might be his hidden horror. So when Mark evidently disappears, nobody really cares. It's sunny, everyone's half tripping, mixed with a jet lag. Makes sense. But you know what bugs me the most? Mark actually had it right. Like, his hunch was telling him, be careful. As he was sitting at the table with the guy staring him down, after the pissing incident, he was talking about how he might get killed. Is he gonna kill him? And yeah, good instincts, Mark. Wait, where are you going? Mark, did you not just say the guy was upset that he might kill you? Is it really a good time to go someplace, I don't know, uncharted right now? Like, maybe stick to the gang, at least until he's back to no kill mode? No? Okay, sure. Okay. Now we'll talk about Josh, who seemed like the most rational of them all, who knows about the Harga because he's literally doing his PhD about them, decides to visit this creepy old temple in the middle of the night. Well, it's not really night, it's, the sun is still kind of there. It's like almost night, but it's not exactly night. I don't think it feels comfortable, so I get it. I get that he doesn't want to sleep, but he just goes there, even though they told him not to take pictures of the holy book, like it was strictly forbidden. But I guess he just wanted to get to the good place, huh? Get it? Because you might have not seen the show. He was in the good place. Anyway, in hindsight, I am upset with the Harga. Like, why be rude? Why not just, let the guy take his pictures? You're gonna kill him anyway. He might as well, have it on his phone, just feel excited about it, maybe even show it to Christian and just say, hey, look, I got this, you don't. And just in case you forgot, there is no reception. So he can't email it or share it on his Instagram, like he can't do anything with it. But, for the sake of this video, if he could have shared it, I think he would have written his Instagram post maybe something like this. When your PhD is about a cult and you gotta sneak out at night to take a picture of their holy book, which is written by someone disabled, by the way, but you're still thinking of her. Hashtag living free. Hashtag you can't tell me what to do. Hashtag this thesis is fire. Hashtag suck it, Christian. That's what I think he would have written, because that's how fast they dropped his IQ from something high to practically non-existent. Then this super strange guy shows up wearing what appears to be Mark's face and bashes Josh's head in. Let's talk Christian real quick. The perhaps only guy who seemed genuinely worried when they asked him about the holy book. Like, he knows, man. He knows these guys are messed up and things could get messy. Either way, right? They take him to this weird white room with all sorts of imagery and drawings on the walls and sit him down in a very uncomfortably close-up position. They let him know that he's been approved to mate with Maya. Approved? What is this, some sort of IT ticket request? I mean, sure. Then the scene ends abruptly. Almost like the editor fat-fingered the entire sequence of the, conversation within that room. And because this editor loves Bob Ross, he always lives by his wise words of, we don't make mistakes, we make happy accidents. He decides not to press Ctrl-Z and just leaves it as is. Cause what the hell happened? What was that conversation all about? The moment he leaves the building, he's not Christian anymore. He almost looked like a shell of himself. Was he hypnotized? I don't know. Ask the editor. He's got the raw file, I guess. And then they give him another mushroom drink, Red Bull mix, I don't know, something. He's practically dead at this point. He really doesn't look like himself. And he's having some stomach cramps, the likes I've never seen. And I love milk products. And I have lactose intolerance. So you do the math. And I'll admit the dance scene was indeed beautiful, wasn't it? I mean, it was mesmerizing, but it was also super terrifying, and I know you felt it too. Because beneath the green grass that they're dancing on, there's dirt, earth. Now, I wasn't gonna give you any metaphor, just facts. Actually, during this scene, the first thing I thought of, and this is honest take by the way, Iron Maiden song, Dance of Death. In fact, I'm gonna cheat a little and just refer to some of the lyrics to explain what's happening. It's insane how much it matches really. And if you don't like metal, well, you should, it's really good. So the song goes, then they summoned me over to join in with them to the dance of the dead. Into the circle of fire I followed them. Then I felt I was in a trance and my spirit was lifted from me. That's Dani. She's high, dancing, circling with everyone, even laughing at times, and her spirit is lifted from her as the, trip begins, and she sees grass growing out of her feet. This dance basically is, the final stage of a long manipulation tactic. Everything's going according to plan, and that's just the way the Harga likes it. Further along the verse, it goes something like, as I danced with the dead, my free spirit was laughing and howling down at me. Subtle, but every one of them is practically dead. Remember, they're one in everything. Eat together, mourn together. They've died the moment one Harga member had died. Dani is literally dancing with the dead. And ultimately, Dani wins. And I think purposefully so. Now, there are a lot more references I can give you from that song, but I don't want to bore you too much. You can check the song out and even play the song in the background and watch the dancing scene. That's actually something really cool. You should definitely try to do that. Okay, but everything up until this point, it has been set up perfectly for Dani to find a home there, to find solace. And you didn't buy that bit where Dani won, did you? It was all basically magician's choice. So let's say that she fell on the ground. She's eliminated, right? Nope. They just have made up a rule that claims that because it's her first dance, she has another chance or something until she wins, basically. So when she wins and, she asks if Christian can join her on the journey she's about to take, they refuse that wish. Weird. I thought the May Queen had the say in everything. Another magician's choice, though, realistically. The Harga doesn't do giving control. They own it, only to make it look like you have control. That's a possibility, nothing more. Because let's say they had let Christian go with her on this ride. There is a non-zero chance of them bonding again, and that's a big no-no. Christian was assigned to Maya, and there's no changing that. I did also Google a lot about, this movie, but also Christian in particular, and he gets still so much hate. I feel like I have to say this. I truly believe that they loved each other, up until the very end, actually. And he may not have been the most supportive boyfriend in the world, but he was there, and he was real. Something we can easily take for granted. Anyway, so the cult makes sure to leave the door to Christian's very horrific experience open, even though they are very secretive and discreet when it comes to ritualistic events. Sharing means caring and all that, I guess. And of course, Dani breaks. She didn't see all the behind the scenes, the setup for Christian that we got to see. All she sees is infidelity. And the girls around her, they start imitating her. Every move, every sound that she makes, the reactions, they sort of mirror her pain. And if you think about it, it's sort of brilliant. And if you really think about it, it's weird as hell and I don't like it. But if shared pain is half the pain, imagine several people joining in on your cries and moans and your screams. I guess at some point you start hearing them cry, you might feel not alone. I mean, yeah, you're not alone, but really deep down, like you sort of belong. And suddenly these strange people, they don't seem all that bad anymore. Even though they did kill all your friends and make their elderly jump from their mountains and are literally inbreeding with one another to make up a fake religion, but not all that bad. The thing is, this is what Dani's been looking for maybe her entire life. Unconditional love from the people around her. Her parents, her sister, her boyfriend, anybody. She just wanted to be cared for, understood, and maybe even echoed. She kept talking about how she was needy, annoying, felt like a baggage. But now that neediness, it has found a home, and no one was annoyed with her. And the burning scene, the Harga literally went ahead and created their own kind of hell. I guess that an ideal world with no punishment can really never exist, even in a supposedly, pure and unclouded made-up ideology. But the key takeaway from all this was grief is the ultimate weapon for Harga. It's why Pelle was so happy to see Dani coming. Someone who carries grief is the perfect candidate to join their cult because they're the easiest to mold. And apathy is what gets you killed here, because empathy is their most important trait. Okay, but they don't have empathy for anyone but themselves, right? So if you're not part of the Harga, you don't get empathy. And if you think about it, that's not really empathy, that's just nepotism. Oddly enough though, and bear with me on this one, I'm almost at the end, this empathy that they have, it can never really be empathy because they see each other as one single unit. So any empathy that they show for one another is simply towards their own selves, meaning it could never be, raw empathy to begin with. So ultimately what the Harga has is vanity, narcissism. And if you were to ask them about this, well, they'd deny it and then calmly take you out to the train station. No hard feelings. So my ultimate point in all of this is that the Harga is just as indifferent as Christian. Dani broke up with Christian only to end up with a group of 15 Christians that are not Christian, by the way. You can't make this stuff up, but I hope to God that it was all made up and nothing remotely similar exists in the real world. And yet, somehow, I doubt it doesn't. I wasn't really rooting for Dani or Christian, even though they both got quite a horrible ending. Who I was rooting for, it was really Mark. I think that kid just needed some guidance and some love, and I think he would have been perfectly fine. So, was Dani happy? Did she find peace? I don't know. I'm more inclined to say that she's still having a bad trip, and when she wakes up, oh boy, is she gonna need a lot of orange juice. And even then, she might just decide to have trips for the rest of her life, because this is not the place you want to wake up in and be sober at. Why do you think they all drink shrooms all day? Oh, and especially not if you recently burned your boyfriend inside of a bear suit, I guess. You've just watched Fax Machine 9000. Thank you so much.